said, Art, the Egyptian doesn't use muscles. They use their brain, because the pyramid was the national project of the whole nation.
All right, so we had Zahi Hawass on the Joe Rogan Experiment. I was super surprised to see that show up on my timeline. I think many people were also, just with, you know, how he has been presented to us. This was truly the first time I've ever heard him really speak more than 2-3 minute clip. I personally think he changed my opinion on believing that the Egyptians probably did make the pyramids. The comments were really surprising. I thought it would be more split, but everyone seems to just want to glaze fucking Graham Hancock. And obviously Joe came into this being friends with Graham. Years and years and years of hearing negative things of Zahi Hawass. I think Joe does all these commentary on the UFC, all these guys with crazy names, and he kept having problems with Zahi Hawass. Zahi had to correct him one time. Even at one point, Zahi Hawass said, "Can you call me Zahi? I'll call you Joe." Made it clear from the beginning they can call each other a first name. After he was corrected by Zahi Hawass for mispronouncing his name after he said he couldn't introduce him in Houston, may have been petty, but they both were petty because Joe said Mr. Hawass right after. Many times, with how cultured Joe is, I felt he was extremely ignorant to many things that Zahi said. It's clear he has English is not his first language. The fact he can speak English so clearly, he's a bright guy. Can Joe speak a different language? I think there was very minimal effort to understand there's cultural differences here, and he just made it seem like he wasn't understanding him so many times, when what he was saying to me made sense with a lot of things he was saying.
If you go today, if I take you today with me, and you know, I always tell people this. I give lectures maybe 3-4 times a week for American groups. And I tell them the following. If you stood in front of the Great Pyramid and you look at it, you will never believe that this pyramid built by human being. Why? Because you don't know. And number two, if you try to do it today, you will never be able to do it. Are you going to hire today 10,000 workmen to work for 28 years for nothing? That was the national project of the whole nation.
And he didn't seem very closed off or just ignorant about new discoveries. Joe seemed to not be able to grasp that he wanted to speak to those Italian researchers who said those large columns are under the pyramids. I had no idea that the pyramids were actually built on a solid rock. I think most people would assume they were all just stacked up to the top. I didn't know there was that much base on this. So, just to completely just discredit him because he doesn't know the technology. He said himself he doesn't know the technology. That's not his expertise. But using just logical thinking, the access and the people he has to work on the pyramid sites with him, you don't think that they can help him understand that these tomography scans actually might not be accurate? I feel like every point that was like they were butting heads about, Joe wasn't doing a very good job just to actually hear it. Because again, all these guys just glaze Graham Hancock. All these channels on that are pseudoscientists. And trust me, I'm more in the pseudoscientist camp with most things. But this was something I just am truly surprised so many people have an even more negative opinion on Zahi Hawass. Even the fact that he was willing to come, offer to bring Joe to the pyramids.
the lid is about 10 tons weight. 2 workmen only opened the lid for me. We have a machine called the devil. I don't know why they called it the devil.
Divil?
Devil.
Okay.
Why? I don't know. I asked them. They said our grandfathers called it like that. Then they
Oh,
brought
this is an ancient machine?
it is an ancient machine.
Jamie could probably pull it up.
Then
It's probably online.
Then they put this machine under the lid, and they come doing like this, and they raise the lid little bit. Mm-hmm. When the lid is raised, they put a piece of wood, another piece of wood, another,
Okay.
until there is a half a feet that I can put
Right.
my face inside with with a flashlight to see what's inside the coffin. About pyramids, because most of the information that's written on pyramids are wrong.
Most of it?
Most of it.
In archaeology books?
In archaeology books.
Really?
Except me and Mark Leaner.
You guys are the only ones that have it right?
Because I have been working in Giza for the last 57 years of my life. I excavated every piece of sand.
Okay, what do the archaeologists have wrong in these archaeologist books?
For example, number 1. They say that the workmen who built the pyramids worked only 4 months a year. When the flood covered the whole country, the king hired the workmen to work in his pyramid. This is wrong, and I will tell you what's correct. Number 2, that the stones used in building the Great Pyramid came from Torah, and Torah is a 25 miles to the east from Giza. And number 3, that Khufu ruled for 23 years. And number 4, that the stones of the Great Pyramid are 2,300,000 blocks.
How many blocks are there?
Now, let us talk about number 1, the
Okay.
workman.
There were many times that Zahi Hawass would say things that are a fact in his mind, and Joe would condescendingly talk to him as if he was talking to a child. Like say, "Oh, really? Oh, there's none?" Like things like that. I just, for all the interviews and all the high-level people Joe talked to, he obviously had disdain for him through this, and right from the jump. You know, I think he doesn't understand, which he should, with how much he does commentary for the UFC, how Middle Eastern guys are. You know, this Zahi Hawass sounds very similar to how my dad speaks. My dad's a little more clear English than Zahi. Some of the words I couldn't quite understand that he was saying, but I think Joe kind of just didn't put very much effort into knowing this guy is from a different culture, so there might be a little bit of a barrier between understanding each other. Many times he just pretended like he just couldn't have any idea what Zahi's saying. I understood every single thing Zahi was saying, and the way he was trying to say it. When Joe had confusion, it seemed, I just was in my head thinking, how is he confused with what he's saying? He didn't like what he was saying. I don't think he expected Zahi Hawass to be as open. So even when he was saying, I don't know, I have no idea, there's just no like acceptance of it for some reason.
The workman.
I found the tombs of the pyramid builders only 1 mile south of the Sphinx. A major important discovery that can tell everyone, number 1, that pyramids built by Egyptians because of the names that we found inside the cemetery. And they were not slaves.
Is
Because
that your phone?
Something I will say about Zahi that got a little annoying was me, I excavate. Obviously, he's dedicated 57 years of his life to this, so he feels it is his. He's a Egyptian nationalist. He brought up many times how this was a national project. And if you truly think, if you have an entire nation having not to go to work, having to worry about their kids, having to do this, and they just truly dedicated to building this, makes a lot of sense. That this project could actually be completed. Joe didn't seem to want to hear anything about how they can move stones, can cut stones. There was a different type of tool he mentioned a couple times, very sharp and big. Big problem with this is Zahi Hawass is an old man. He isn't a high-tech guy. He kept saying book. He said you could find it on the internet. I truly don't think he is trying to hide anything. I think he's just very old school and old, and his way or the highway with a lot of things. But I will say I do not think he is just closed-minded to any other opinions. He stated he wanted to talk to those Italian tomographers, scientists, whatever they are, to discuss how are you getting this reading and go look. He hired German robots. He's hired people from Japan. He's hired people from many different places that he told us in this podcast. So that obvious is not saying only Egyptians and only people in this area can research this.
And the upper cemetery was for the technicians.
Right. And how do you know this?
I will tell you.
Okay.
Now, the tombs down there are very primitive tombs, built from mud brick, cost nothing. Underneath is a skeleton. And if the skeleton is for a man, he's holding a beer jar. He wants to drink beer in the afterlife. If the skeleton is for a woman, she has a perfume vessels. She wants to have perfume in the afterlife. Inside the upper cemetery, I found 21 titles in hieroglyphic. For example, the overseer in hieroglyphic of the side of the pyramid.
Oh, it says that? The overseer of the side of the pyramid?
Emira Ges Mer in hieroglyphic. The overseer of the west side of the pyramid. Draftsman, craftsman, the one who stands in front of the harbor. All these titles had to do with building the pyramid. Inside the tombs, we found the tools that the Egyptian used to cut the stones.
What tools?
Diorite and flint tools. Because in the Old Kingdom, there was no iron.
Are these photos of these tools available online? Can we look at them?
Yeah, I can send it to you.
Can we see them online? Are they online?
No, in my book, Giza and the Pyramids. I don't know if it's online.
I'm sure it's online. Jamie will find it. So these these tools were flint and diorite. What is diorite?
Diorite, D-I-O-R-I-T-E. Diorite is more sharp stone than iron.
All these channels on YouTube that just seriously glaze Graham Hancock just to try to get an interview with him, you have to fucking believe it, just him fully, like it's a religion. And if you look at some of my other content, I want to make it clear, I'm not Christian, I'm not Muslim, I'm not Jewish. I don't have religion in my life really at all. I'm aware of religion, but I thought it's very important in that where Zahi asked, are you religious? If I was ever doing interviews with people, it's one of the first questions I would ask them. What religion are you? So I can see what kind of paradigm you live in, what kind of worldview you have. Because look at Gaza and Israel, for example. Look at those two people, groups, worldview, and how you know they're never going to have peace. Solely based off religion.
I'm going to tell you one thing.
Okay.
If you tell me that pyramids built by giants, okay? I will say, okay, come to the excavation. All the skeleton that we discover are 5 to 6 feet high. Nothing about giants.
Who's saying they were built by giants?
Some people say that.
Oh, okay.
Nothing about giants.
Who's saying they were built by giants?
Some people say that.
Oh, okay.
Nothing about giants.
Who's saying they were built by giants?
Some people say that.
Oh, okay.
The second.
I've heard aliens.
Okay, the second alien.
Same thing with Graham, Joe, all these pseudoscientists who truly just think they are like God's gift to giving information. And I'll be honest with you, my channel is not big. I've reached out to many of these people just to talk to them. The only ones that actually respond are the archaeologists. Pseudoscientists and all these people, this genre of YouTube that just wants to trash everything that is mainstream, it's getting pretty old. And again, I'm someone who typically is on the side of the pseudoscientists. Go look at my videos on Amon Hillman and Christianity in general. I have always been someone who's not dogmatic and can try to look into other perspectives. And that's why I'm truly shocked at how much hate Zahi Hawass is getting. He gave us a ton of information that Graham Hancock wasn't giving us. Any of these other channels are giving us. Really not. He is living it and doing it. And I don't think it is that he just doesn't want to answer. I don't think he knows. He doesn't know. And many times he says, I don't know. I don't know. So I'm going to maybe go break this video down a little bit more, but I just wanted to give my 2 cents on the little things that stuck out right away to me. And honestly, looking at all the different videos and channels and comments, more specifically, ignorant motherfuckers all over the place on here. Just no ability. And I would probably even go a step further and say these people don't like him specifically because he's Egypt and he gets the most access to it. Pure jealousy. So
if aliens build the pyramids, do they leave any? Do they shit sometimes? Aren't they going to shit?
Maybe aliens don't shit.
If they don't shit, are they
Everyone
going
shits?
to leave something on the ground?
there's many things that if it was coming out of Graham Hancock's mouth, Joe would respond a completely different way. I'm not here just to trash Joe and talk mad shit on Joe. Enough people do that. The content Joe has given us over the years is something that I think we're all very appreciative of. Maybe he's just burnt out and tired of all this stuff, but actually finally getting Zahi Hawass in studio with him, I would have just expected a little more respect.
On the contrary, I give you the evidence, every evidence that I will tell you today
Of actual workers.
of actual workers and what's happening. Now,
Right.
we come about building the pyramid. All the stones I told you came from Giza Plateau. We found out what happened first. They cut in the solid rock
Okay.
and they made the base of the pyramid to be 28 feet on the solid rock.
All the countless videos I've watched of Graham Hancock and other people, bought Graham's books, I truly feel a little misled because so much of this information that we got from Zahi has never been said by Graham or any of these other people who just want to say mainstream archaeology are just nasty, just hiding shit. And I will say, I think pseudo-archaeology and real archaeology both is just a group of fucking just white guys telling everyone else in the world what this is. I'll stand firm on saying archaeologists are people you don't need in society. They're journalists of the past. That's it. Anyone can go be a journalist. Anyone can go dig shit up and examine it and be like, huh, I have a theory. Any single person can do this. So I don't understand this high regard towards archaeologists like Mini Minuteman, that Dr. D-Bag, I forget his name. Complete arrogant assholes. And this is why so many people will latch on to someone like Graham or an alternate theory, because the other guys are such douchebags. It's unbearable. Especially someone like me who just truly loves the facts and the history of things. And that's why, again, I'm going to bring up Amon Hillman. Amon Hillman is so interesting because no one can refute what he's saying. I don't see anything that Zahi Hawass said in this just completely refuted, like just complete liar. It's not there, and everyone seems to be like in some sort of psychosis because they just think all archaeologists is bad. I truly believe this is a genuine person who has a real love and passion for Egypt and the pyramids. It's his sole niche, Egypt. He says he's turned every grain of sand there, which I believe, you know, not every grain of sand, but you know what I'm saying. He's seen the entire area many, many times. These other people will go visit sites, make a little fucking video, and then you're an expert on it all of a sudden. Or you have a background that you can talk about it. Again, archaeologists are just journalists that anyone can go do it. Many people can go be an archaeologist. Many archaeologists couldn't just go and do a different profession. I just truly believe that. That being said, I truly respect Zahi Hawass a lot. This JRE experience completely changed my opinion on Egypt specifically and the pyramids. All the other stuff, all these other topics that Graham covers, I can't dismiss them because we don't know. His big point is when he talked to Flint Dibble, saying, how much of Africa have you excavated? How much of this area have you excavated? They come off as liars because you can't possibly say definitively you know when you just do not. When we have the pyramids and it's a structure that's not moving anywhere, you're gonna trust these two Italian guys who've never even been to Egypt and scanned underneath from space, a satellite. Besides the guy who's going into these tunnels, he goes in. He's not just some guy overseeing workers doing stuff. He goes in and does this stuff and digs himself. So I would really hope people go watch the podcast again and come at it with the point of view as Zahi being right. Just think that things he's saying are true and look at it from that point of view. And you'll see the ignorance and just not trying to actually discuss things and just look for something for him to be wrong about. There's a big difference. Been a while since I uploaded on here. I'd appreciate it if you guys hit like, subscribe. I got some new stuff coming up.